Carson's Corner is a black LGBTQ-owned small business. They sell merchandise and apparel on pop culture franchises such as Dragon Ball, King of the Hill, Sailor Moon, and of course and most importantly, Power Rangers. If you're interested in getting their amazing merch, be sure to check them out at carsoncorner.com. Link will be down below.
Oh, girls just wanna have fun. It's what they really want. Some fun. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I know how much you guys hate when I say it. I get it. I totally get it. Don't worry about it. But yes, this is the obligatory girl power episode of Kamen Rider, which is not even a thing because, you know, the obligatory girl power episode is more often a Sentai thing, not a Kamen Rider thing. I mean, it happened more prevalently recently in the recent years. Just not like, it happened more recently during the Reiwa era, but not so much in the, I mean, let's see, Malika didn't really have an episode to herself, if we really think about it. Nico, did she get an episode to herself? Kinda? I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell with that one. Tsukiyomi didn't even become a writer till the finale of her season, so like you can't even give her that. I mean, I know that Kamen Rider Zanki's master, like I know that she was a Kamen Rider, like she was a Kamen Rider, but like she only had like the one episode where she dies to herself, you know. So yeah, I would have to say the girl power episodes are more common in Reiwa era than anything, and not even every season, because Saber didn't really have a girl power episode. I mean, Zenkaiger did, because it featured Malika having a thing with Majade. That's pretty much it, but it wasn't even in the Saber half of the special. It was the Zenkaiger half. Revice, yeah. John had a decent number of episodes, as did Hana. Remember, we can't call her Aguilar anymore unless you call her Kamen Rider Aguilara, in which case, yeah, that's fine. But by the way, if her name's Kamen Rider Aguilara, how come what's his face has become Kamen Rider Julio while we're at it? Now, obviously, there was like one girl power episode in Geats where you had where you had Sai teaming up with Nago. That's fine. That was a thing. That was a thing. And you had Delmo and Izu, but the thing is, neither of them were writers, so it doesn't really count. But the following episode where Yaiba gives Mr. Senpa Sento a slap in the face, like that was a girl power episode. I'll give it that much. So yeah, here we are, first female second writer, and yes, we are talking about Kamen Rider Gotchard episode 19. Rinne's Dawn, Transform Majade, and yes, it is pronounced Majade. I actually tried looking into it. Let's see, Majade. Let's take a look. See, yeah, it's it's pronounced Majade. I just checked the IPA, and IPA is definitive. Okay. What are you guys' thoughts on one, this is being the first female second writer, and two, what are your thoughts of the costume design? I know she appeared in the winter film, which we did not see, and therefore are trying to keep references to a minimum, but it is also noticeable that they are referencing the film a lot. Needless to say, I'm pretty sure Steve is going to be really upset when we do episode 46 of Build, since Be the One takes place between episodes 45 and 46. So, yeah, let's see how this plays out. What's interesting is that we do have a game plan this episode, but Rinne is not really she's not really into it because she has this fixation on following rules throughout the episode, and I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you got to break the rules to preserve the rules. Like, I remember there was this episode of Futurama that really stood out to me. I mean, a lot of episodes of Futurama stood out to me, but this one especially stands out to me, like when it comes to this discussion. So there was an episode where Zoidberg was caught eating the flag of Earth because Earth is one giant super nation, and apparently there's a law against eating the flag. And obviously, this is probably a reference to the controversy involving flag burning. Now, as it turns out, that Zoidberg was prosecuted, not prosecuted, he was persecuted and prosecuted. He was both, and yeah, and then his plan ended up invading Earth. They took over, but then humans tried to fight back by using a heat-seeking missile, but the thing is, their fortress is made out of sand, so it doesn't emit any heat. So Zoidberg, he burns an Earthican flag, and he says, I realize that I'm burning this flag, but it's to preserve the freedom it represents. And he throws the burning flag onto that fortress, allowing the heat-seeking missile to actually hit the fortress and save Earth. So it's like, yeah, sometimes you gotta break rules in order to protect the rules. We don't really know the rules here, so that's a tough one. They talk about how there's all these rules in the alchemy world, but they don't really discuss these rules except for, humans must never act with chemies, and humans that have made contact with chemies need to have their memories erased. Those are the two main rules. If there are more rules, and honestly, this is a criticism I have of Full Metal Alchemist. Yes, both series, the 2004 anime and Brotherhood, which is based on the manga, because it's always phrased like this: humankind cannot gain anything unless first giving something in return. To obtain something of equal value must be lost. This is alchemy's first law of equivalent exchange. That's the thing. It's alchemy's first law of equivalent exchange. You can't call it the first law unless there's also a second law. But they never say what that second law is. We can speculate, but they never straight up say what the second law of alchemy is. And again, you can't, you would only call it the first law if there's more than one law. Like take World War One. No one during World War One called it World War One until World War Two happened. It was just known as the World War, the Great War, the war to end all wars. But it's not until World War II happened where World War One was called World War One. And I'm not even 100% sure if it was even called World War One right away after the invasion of Poland. I just know that before that, people were not expecting a second World War. So of course they're just gonna call it the World War. It's like Star Wars, you know, you don't call it Star Wars Episode 1 or Episode 4, you just call it the Star Wars. Then when you have the sequel, it's like, oh, there's more Star Wars movies, so then you call it, oh, Empire Strikes Back, but then you change it to Star Wars A New Hope, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. And then you got Revenge of the Jedi turned into Return of the Jedi, and then it's like, oh, so you got the Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Then you call it Star Wars: A New Hope, Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars: Return of the Jedi. But then you make the prequels, so now you call it Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, Star Wars Episode 5: Empire Strikes Back. You know, you see what I'm saying with this? It's like, but the point I'm making is, on this tangent, is we don't understand what these rules are. So how do we know which rules we're breaking and which rules we're preserving? Because like freaking Minato's like, Rinne, I want you to come back to the school. Yeah, you have to join us because them's the rules. And like, what rule would that be? What rule? What rule are you breaking? What rule are you preserving? It makes no sense, dude. You need to elaborate these things because you can't just say the rules. Heck, even in Fairly Odd Parents, they at least have a book of rules called The Rules. And they specify what the rules are whenever they're being broken or preserved. And some like you can't like it's like they do some of the rules multiple times, like oh, you can't use fairy magic to win a competition, or you can't use fairy magic to interfere with true love. Like those are the two that I remember appearing the most frequently. But like at least they specified what the rules were. So far, the only rules we got were chemis cannot make contact with humans, which they have, and humans who have made contact with chemis need to get their minds erased, which not all of them have, apparently. At least so it seems. I don't know what the situation with Kajiki is, because sometimes it doesn't seem consistent as to whether or not his mind is erased. Sometimes they erase his mind immediately. Sometimes they wait like an entire episode or two before they decide to erase his memories. I'm just like, you know what? Can't you guys just give him a science driver? Like, make him a science-themed Kamen Rider. I'm not just talking about build. I mean, look, you got alchemy, and then you have science. More accurately, you have alchemy, and you have chemistry. Make him a chemistry-themed Kamen Rider. You know, like that would actually work. And again, I kind of hate how they use very specific combinations of cards in Kamen Rider Legend. Again, still haven't seen Kamen Rider Legend. I just know that these combinations exist. I hate that Kamen Rider Wizard and Kamen Rider Build were not a best match. No pun intended. Because again, one deals with magic, the other deals with science, and alchemy is something in between. Yeah, that's kind of weird. But I mean, there really isn't much to say about the episode as a whole. You know, our hero tries to fight the thing, but unfortunately, his driver overheats. Oh, by the way, I love how Hotaro makes that bento, and when he tries to use it to distract the Cerberus, which, by the way, there's a so there's like a Cerberus thing that shows up from a book, and then because they got the Cerberus Chemi card, like it becomes the Cerberus Amalgam. And honestly, I like how its human arm is like holding a leash, because And also, if you pay attention, like the dog heads are upside down, so that's also kind of interesting. So it makes me wonder, like, is the dude bent over backwards or something? I don't know. I'm gonna be honest though. This has to be one of my favorite Kemi designs. Sorry, my favorite Malcolm designs in the season so far. I don't know if it's my most favorite. I need to go through them all over again, but I really like this one. I really like this one. Yeah. So Hotaro like tries to distract it by throwing a bunch of sandwiches from his bento, but much like Rinne, the Amalgam doesn't like his sandwiches either, so it just casually throws them away. It's kind of funny. But they didn't really address this, but the fact that he just scattered those sandwiches makes me think of the actual story of Eros and Psyche. So for those of you who don't know Greek mythology, Eros is the son of Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, and of course he is a Cupid. And Psyche is a woman who falls in love with an invisible entity, which is Eros but invisible. And she has two wicked sisters, because like Cinderella had to have been a ripoff of something. And they're like, oh, we don't like how can you date someone who's invisible? How do you know what he looks like? He might be really ugly, which is really dumb. Somehow the provocation worked, and so she tries to get a glimpse of his true appearance while he was asleep, and somehow caused a series of freak accidents, caused him to become injured. So she prays to Aphrodite to get to find a way to heal Eros, because she loves Eros. Turns out she's really into him even before she knew who he really was or what he looked like. So Aphrodite is like, okay, there's an herb that can heal him, but it can only be found in the underworld. And boy, do I love stories that involve going to the underworld, because I just love the underworld. Like in Greek mythology, it's probably more interesting than freaking Olympus. But yeah, so and at one of those points, I can't remember which character, it might have been Zephyr. I'm blanking on it, but like any quest, the main character always gets a series of items that are supposed to help them on the quest. But one of the items on the quest is she has to a group of pastries or bread or something, some kind of food, and so when she encounters Cerberus, which is the guardian of the underworld, she throws the food in a bunch of random directions, so Cerberus will be distracted trying to fight between its three heads to get all the food, which it can't, and so she's able to sneak past it in order to. And I can't remember if the same thing happens on the way back, but the point is, they could have easily referenced Eros and Psyche using this scene, but they just didn't. And I'm thinking it's weird how I remember that story. Is it because I'm currently reading Percy Jackson? I'm in the middle of the 4th book right now, by the way. And yeah, it's come to think of it, they never actually, they did encounter Cerberus in the 1st book, but they never referenced that myth. They never did the whole scattering the sandwich thing in the 1st book, which they very well could have. I'm like, geez, Percy Jackson, author, you really missed out a pretty good opportunity. But hey, you make a 3-headed dog look cute and cuddly. I can dig it. I can dig it. But now it makes me think about a couple of things. We have Cerberus. We have the 3 fates. Wouldn't it just be better if this season, instead of being based on alchemy, was simply based on Greek mythology. I'm just saying, make a Greek mythology themed season. I mean, they kind of do it with God in Kamen Rider X, where like, oh, you combine an animal with like a character from Greek mythology. The first half, like you have fish Poseidon or Falcon Icarus, but yeah, like wouldn't it be cool if you had a common? So like basically, imagine like Percy Jackson, but as Kamen Rider. Main character is Kamen Rider Hades. Like he's a maybe I don't know if he's a descendant of Hades or a reincarnation of Hades, but basically his moniker is Hades, and he has to fight 11. Actually, I think it is 12. Well, 12 other riders who represent the other Greek myths, Greek gods of the Olympic pantheon. And of course, the main villain is going to be Kamen Rider Zeus. And because you've had riders in the past that were based on Greek or Roman myths, like you bring back those riders to a lesser capacity where it's like you keep the helmets, but you redesign the suits to be more related to that season. So like Kamen Rider Mars from Kamen Rider Gaim, just get the Mars helmet, but give him like a new belt, basically, and just say, oh, he's the embodiment of Ares, because Mars, Ares, that sort of thing. Kamen Rider Poseidon was an actual Kamen Rider from the future. Bring him back, but give him a new belt. You could do that. So like you got Ares, Poseidon, Hades, and Zeus. Bring in the Zeus Dopant from the video game. Freaking bring in Zeus, dude. Bring in Zeus. That would make so much sense. He could be the final villain, but better. Better than this. He was okay here, but make it better. Anyway, so it turns out, the ignition thing overheats. It's like, oh, let's like not overtax it. So yeah, of course, we can't use the ignition mod. So he's just using X-Rex, which I'm like, wasn't X-Rex really powerful? Like, what's the problem here? And yes, the three heads get separated into three separate amalgams. Doesn't really matter. But the pan flute that was used to control Cerberus, it gets destroyed when doesn't get destroyed, but Atropos loses it when she gets injured. And guess who ends up saving her? Freaking Rinne saves Atropos. So she's like, you just wanted a friend. And here's the thing about this. It's like, Atropos is the oldest of the three sisters. So, like, it does feel, I mean, out of context, it would make sense that, like, the youngest of, or at least, like the one that most looks like a 9-year-old might want a friend to hang out with, and like that's why she keeps contacting Rinne. But what really kills is the fact that Atropos is the oldest of the three sisters, so it's like I feel like it doesn't work as well. I feel like that meme doesn't work as effectively because of the fact that Atropos is the eldest of the three sisters. You think she'd be the wisest or most accustomed to being a loner, or at least being part of a trio that lasted for several thousand years, but what would I know? But Rinne shows an act of courage and she becomes Kamen Rider Majade, using both Unicorn and Sun chemi cards. And I really like this. It reminds me of two different tokusatsu shows. I can't quite put my finger on which ones. I think, actually, low key, it does remind me of actually, yeah. It feels like it actually reminds me of that Korean pilot special effects Ray Force. This very much reminds me of Ray Force. I wish Ray Force became a thing. If you've never heard of Ray Force, definitely check it out. It's like a 3-minute clip with like all these tokusatsu tropes, special effects, and I think the whole point is just to show off special effects. Like it's a freaking like video editing software commercial. At least it may as well be one. But like, yeah, it involves magic, technology, an evil wizard that looks like a hybrid of a what's it called, a Ryukendo character crossed with a Hibiki character, with Korag thrown in there because why not? It's a cool form. Oh yeah, and we also see Skate Bushido in its Ignite form, which looks like regular Skate Bushido, but like with a few added touches. Not that much of a difference, honestly. It almost feels like a redundant side form just to have it. You know, kind of like how you have Tokon boost side forms, like Tokon Benkei or Tokon Newton, I guess. I mean, like if it was Goemon Ryuga, I forgot the name of. I forgot the name of the number 9 icon. He was a merchant. I remember that much. Or Himiko, like those would make sense. Like maybe he can't use it as space form, but like, yeah, it is what it is, man. It's not super interesting. What is interesting is the fact that, yeah, Homegirl defeats the thing and captures it. I really like the design on this. I really love the design. The way, like the blue undersuit, the white armor with the copper accents, and even how you got this thick material sticking out of the back of her helmet like it's her hair. It looks really cool. I like a lot of the designs. But the one downside is they reference the movie in a way where it makes no sense. Like it's like, hey, you got the powers back. When did she lose it? How did she lose it? Like you know, the good thing about Kamen Rider Bill with Generations Forever is, sorry, not Generations Forever, Generations the Last. No, Generations Final is what it's called. Is the fact that Senta was handed a robot and Phoenix full bottles, and that he loses it in at the end of the movie. So, which means he could use the Phoenix robot form, but then we're not left wondering during the actual 17th episode or 18th episode, wait, when did he get those full bottles? Because they were stolen from him at the end of the movie. But then he steals them back. So it's like, what's with the flip-flopping? I get it. You want to show off a new form, but you want to be consistent with the TV show. I get it. But this is not consistent with the TV show, which means in order to understand certain things, you have to watch the movie. By the way, Four Aces was recently released, so I can watch that now. But with that in mind, I know it's supposed to take place between episodes, if I recall, between episodes 45 and 46. And the way it transitions is feasible. Actually, I'm curious right now. Kamen Rider Geats 45. I just want to make sure I'm talking about the correct episode. Let's see. Yep. Okay, so episode 45 of Geats ends with a flash of light And then the next episode, we returned to the previous iteration of the universe where Kawa did not make that stupid wish. But here's the thing, though. Because the episode perfectly ends with a flash of light, that means the movie could start with a flash of light ending. We are in another world now. Bad stuff happens. Then we reset the universe again, ending the movie with yet another flash. So when we see the movie show, so that when we go from episode 45 to 46, it's like the movie never happened. Like you could continue watching episode 46 without even having to have seen episode 45. Sorry, without having seen the movie, because it transitions well. Same thing, honestly, like did things happen with how did the Kabuto episode thing happen with Decade? Because the Deno episode ended with Sieg fooling around. They pull down the curtain, and then we see the hand touching the sky, from Kabuto. But we're supposed to also see Momotaro's appearing like in Edo, Japan. I need to rewatch Kamen Rider Decade because like that felt like a weird transition. But I wish Sieg was not. I just wish Sieg stayed with the Decade crew as a recurring character. It's like, because why not? We have Kivala. Like, what's going on, dude? So yeah. Rinne heals Atropos. Atropos is like, thank you for healing me, but you're going to regret that. I don't think I will. I think you just want a friend. Of course, we get to Grayon like trying to tend to Atropos, which looks either cute or creepy depending on how you look at it. But they're being observed by Lachesis, and she doesn't look particularly happy to see this. I'm curious as to her motivations as to why she's upset. And I'm pretty sure this will end really well for Lachesis in the next few episodes. I'm sure of it. Like, nothing bad's going to happen to Lachesis, right? Right? Meanwhile, Rinne celebrates with her friends, like, hey, like, I became a Kamen Rider. Let's all go storm the school. But you were against storming the school because it's breaking the rules. Yeah, but because Hotaro mentioned earlier that my dad wasn't a traitor after all, that means he had to break rules in order to preserve even more important rules. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to break into the school, and we're going to save the other Kemis. And of course, they fight over pastries, and it's a cute scene. She's got frosting on her nose. That's really cute. And that's it for the episode. What do you guys think? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Anything's gonna happen next? Honestly, this episode was actually pretty good. I actually have few to no problems with this episode. I mean, I do have to question certain things as like an overall thing rather than an episode by episode basis. But yeah, no, like we had a really great debut for Rinne's writer form, and she is officially the second writer for this season, making her officially the first. Again, I don't agree with that. Personally, I don't agree with that because Jean should have been considered the first female second writer, because she carried that weight. Honestly, I would say she even carried more weight than Ikki did, if I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not going to say she's the main writer because obviously, the show's called Kamen Rider Revice, but yeah. But yeah, congratulations. We're making progress. I always had an idea for a female second writer for an idea for a season I came up with. But, it is what, like, and I had that idea back in 2015, so you can't even, like, accuse me of, like, ripping anyone off, because, like, if anything, people are ripping me off. But, yeah. Progress. Eventually, maybe we'll get a female main writer. Who knows? I mean, Power Rangers had a female Red Ranger. And I'm not talking about Lauren because she's an extra hero. And I'm not talking about Charlie because she's technically a villain, therefore not an official ranger. But we can honestly say that Emily is the first, and for all intents and purposes, last female Red Ranger. So here we are. No, the action was really good. I like the design of the Kemi in this episode, and it does make me, and for a rare instance, it actually makes me want to see what happens in the next episode. So congratulations, Gotchard. You finally did something right. 10 out of 10 for this one. Let me know what you guys thought. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What do you want? Let's see. Let's see. Why is Clotho the only wearing Academy uniform? Is she? I could have sworn I've seen Lakesis wear a uniform. And Cerberus amalgam with an outside down face. Yeah, it's kind of cute though. Don't worry, you'll get used to the opening hours of the diner. Yeah. Now Minato's doing what Atropos did last time with controlling the students thing. Yeah, I guess. Our first female second writer makes her debut. Exactly. Although, again, I would still say that Jean should have been the first female second writer. It's about time. Yeah, it is. I like the unicorn motif. I agree. I like unicorns. Unicorns are cool. One of my most favorite Zords of all time is Saint Kaiser from Majade Ranger. I actually have one in the other room. I love Saint Kaiser. We should have more unicorn Zords in general. Now you tell what really happened with your father is a traitor case. Now they're eating a Sonoy Odin cart. I hear Inu brothers howl. I need to rewatch that. Kajuki finally posts a monster sighting in the paranormal website. Yeah, he does. A cream puff with meat still tastes off. Another no gotcha. I don't know. I mean, depending on what kind of cream you use. Okay, because here's the thing. Crab cakes are a thing. I think the concept is really dumb. No offense if you like crab cakes, but I don't like the concept of crab cakes. But if you can make a crab cake, what's to stop from making a beef cake or a chicken cake? Pupusas are a thing. Why not make something like a pupusa, but more spherical? Spherical! Even Amalgam thinks you suck at cooking. Well, let's be clear. It thinks that Hotaro sucks at cooking. I cook well. I cook really well. Don't even question my cooking. So the flute the pan flute controls it, but what happens if you lose it? Well, now we know. Help your little rival, even if that's not what she meant of helping. Let's see. Now you're talking. Make your own rules. Yeah. Okay. Welcome back, Majade. Now shows us previous scenes what a female fighter can do. Yeah, I mean, again, Jean was a really good Kamen Rider. Heck, I could even argue that Human Tackle, though not a Kamen Rider, was really competent. Are we gonna pretend that Fem or Malika were not a thing? Let's see. Oh, come on. Just say thank you for undoing the golden feedback. Yeah. Spanner feels left out now that she doesn't she doesn't need protection. And she's a writer, yeah. Yeah. But also, let's keep it 100. Rinne became a Kamen Rider before Spanner did. Yeah. Next episode, Spanner's biggest L coming. Oh yeah, I can split into like 3 like a cartoon superhero boy from Malaysia. Oh, I'd be interested in learning more about that. Uh, look, he's planning something dangerous. Please don't put a death flag on her at the end of the second arc, or worse, in a Valentine episode. Watch, it's going to be a Valentine episode just because he said it's a Valentine episode. I wish we'd get more of those mummy guys as the grunts of the show. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, just look at the Kurokage from Gaim. At first, it was one of 7 writers, but now it's a mass-produced thing, so it's been demoted to a foot soldier. So there's that. Like, can you even consider Kurokage a Kamen Rider anymore? If he's literally like the body of a group of foot soldiers now. Same thing with Riot Troopers. I don't think you could consider Riot Troopers to be Kamen Riders. Just saying. And that's it for the comments, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Ding the bell icon to stay notified for our latest videos. We typically do Kamen Rider on Wednesdays and Super Sentai on Thursdays. We normally would do Kamen Rider build on Sunday, but because the Sunday is Pasadena Comic-Con, we're going to be doing that on Saturday. And yes, if you're near the Pasadena area, please go to Pasadena Comic-Con. There's going to be a lot of guests and activities to do there. And yes, me and some of the other members of the Morphin Network are going to be there. So if you want to say hi to us in person, that's your next opportunity to do so. And of course, as for Ultraman, we just finished Ultraman Blazar, so we're gonna take a break next week, and the week after we're gonna go all the way back to the Heisei era to discuss Ultraman Tiga. There we go, because he's larger than life, searching for a hero with all the right stuff. And check out our sister channel, The Buttery Show. We do movie reviews and video game news. We're almost at the end of Crow Month. This Saturday, we're going to be doing the 4th, but soon to not be the final episode, The Crow Wicked Prayer. I'm told a lot of bad things about it. Still haven't seen it yet. I'm going to see it later this week. Wish me the best of luck. If you want to check out my personal content, I will be I am on Instagram at Boken_Kawato, and later this week I will be Twitch streaming at twitch.tv/BokenKawato. With all that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay hydrated, update your emergency kits, hug your loved ones, and I will see you in person in Pasadena Comic-Con this Sunday. Have a good one. Bye.